Alright, let's get an update on this 72 or 73 Strat. There's a little update on the actual date of this guitar. It's been brought to my attention that since the pickups are dated 73, I don't know if you can see that, but they're dated 73-32. So somebody tells me that's the 1973, the 32nd week. So the neck is stamped 1972, but those pickups are stamped 73, and I don't know if that makes this a 72. Well, it can't make it a 72. So it has to be a 73 because those pickups wouldn't have been installed unless somebody's been mucking around. So if anybody knows about that, that'd be interesting to know. So maybe the owner was right, because he's been saying this is a 73 all along, and then when I discovered 1972 in the neck, in the heel, which I've shown in previous videos, I thought it was a 72. Anyway, so it's pretty early. It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I usually get up pretty early, and without going into a long story here, the kids are out of the house for the night, having a little sleepover, so I thought I'd get some work done this morning. And since I'm not going to wake anyone up, because my wife is 2 floors up, I can actually talk. So I've been experimenting with a bit of polishing this morning here. I don't know if it's terribly easy to see, but I've been at this side of the guitar. You can see I still got a bunch of scratches that I gotta take out, but I have wet sanded it again. I wet sanded it one more time all the way around with 3000 micro mesh, and now the scratches that I'm leaving behind are from the polishing compound. So now I have to go out to a scratch remover, but I was just testing this part of the body here, and it seems to be coming out pretty well. I've gone ahead and flattened all those areas that we showed in previous videos. There was a little area here with a bit of orange peel, and I filled in a couple of spots here that had a couple ding marks, so those are gone. But otherwise it's coming out okay. So I've gone ahead and also redone the shielding. I've used the good old aluminum tape. I've tried to do a nice clean job here. Okay, so let's pull you in and show you what I've done. All I've done is I've gone back in here, I've pulled all the old shielding out, and went in and put this in really flat, so it's going to make a good contact. And bridge is installed, so this has all been shielded. So the owner was telling me, this is a pretty funny little story, the owner was telling me that this guitar squealed every time he plugged it in. Well, see this cable here? Well, this ground cable was just, it was screwed in there like that, and it even had a little blob of solder on it, but that was it. So this wire went to here and stopped. Well, if we look in the back, that wire is connected to the claw. And this leads me into my next discussion. I had accidentally left the claw in there initially, and then I thought, you know what, screw it. I'll put a little bit of tape over it, and then when I'm done with all this, I'll just put it in some paint thinner and all that'll come off. But you know what? I scraped away a bit of the paint here, and then I tested continuity between this and the bridge and these springs and the front and everything, and it seemed to be okay, so I think that's going to create just a fine ground. And if it doesn't, I'll yank it out and I'll put in a new one. But the point of that is that there's your problem. So we need to cut off this little end here, and then we're going to go ahead and solder that to the volume pot where it should be, and then we will take another we'll get another ground wire and we'll solder that from the volume pot to somewhere in the body here. So there should be a body ground. They had the right idea, there should be a body ground, but the body ground needs to be soldered to the volume pot, and this claw needs to be soldered to the volume pot as well, so that anytime you touch this shit or the strings or anything that's touching that, that's all grounded. That's how that works. So, and also when they shielded it, they didn't shield this cavity. So, yeah, it's really curious. They went and they bought the expensive copper foil and everything like that, but they only shielded this bit, and then they soldered this to, so like they kind of half knew what they were doing. But by the look of the body, the state of the body, as we've seen in previous videos, whoever had it, this was, well, let's just say they knew less about what they were doing than I do. I have never claimed to be any kind of expert. Everybody knows here that I'm learning how to do this stuff, and so I make a few mistakes as I go along, but I'd like to know that the guitar is actually going to work. You know, aesthetics aside, I'd like to know that this is all actually going to work and be silent. So that's what I'm working on. Yeah, I didn't really film a lot of this because I've been trying to do this while the kids are asleep, so it's hard to film. So I thought we'd just give a little quick update. I'm going to go ahead and string this guy up right now and check the neck alignment, because that was the other thing I was fighting with, was the neck alignment. You can see here, I don't know how easy that is to see, but there's quite a lot of room, there's quite a lot of gap all the way around the neck pocket. Like, it's pretty, it's no bueno. You can see there, even trying to align this, I scraped away a bit of this paint. But I had to level this neck pocket. Alright, so this is the neck pocket issue I've been dealing with. This little grub screw, I couldn't get it to move from the back, so I'm having to just quickly slot it. So that I can flattened all this. So now we're going to put the neck back on and see if we can get a good measurement on both sides of the neck now. Alright, so as we can see here, I'm sitting straight. So that's what we want, straight. Alright, so I'll give it a quick setup, see if there's any trouble with the neck. And then pull these strings back off and hopefully get some electronics in this thing. Finish shining her up. We're getting there. We're getting there. Alright, welcome back to my nemesis. I don't know how to film this without talking about it a little bit, because I have been at it a little bit in private. But I did film a little bit of progress. Essentially where I'm at now is I've actually set it up. I've done the shielding in the cavities. I have used a tester to make sure there's continuity on my ground to the claw. So even though this claw had a little bit of paint on it, I actually forgot to take it off when I first started priming it, and then I just got lazy and I left it on, so it's got paint on it. So let's see if I can show you that. I got a little bit lazy and I'd left this claw on when I was priming it, and then I put a little bit of tape on it. And my plan was, after I'd gotten paint on it, just throw it in a little bath of Varsol or something like that, just something to remove the paint. And honestly, when I tested it for continuity, this ground wire is still totally continuous. It's still functioning just fine. So I'm gonna leave that for now, and frankly, if I do run into trouble after I wire it up, I'll just pull that and put in a new wire and make sure everything's good. But so far, the test says that this wire has continuity. Now, the problem that I ran into, and I did film a little bit of this, so I'm not sure if I'm going to tag it into the video or not, but essentially this ground wire that's running from the claw was just soldered into the body, or rather just screwed into the body, and there was a little blob of solder on it, and then that's it. It ended. It was not in the circuit. So this ground wire was basically doing nothing. They'd grounded the claw to the body, which is doing nothing. It's not even in the circuit. So the original major complaint was that the guitar was squealing. It was making a lot of ground noise. Well, there's your problem. No ground. So I'm going to snip the end of this little lead off, and we'll solder that properly to a volume pot once we get the electronics back into it. And pretty much we're off to the races with this thing. I got to pull the strings back off now. Yesterday I spent some time setting it up just to see where I was at, because I was having some trouble aligning this neck. But I have since aligned the neck, and I did intend to film the neck alignment, but that was just something that I was struggling with, so I kind of just did it on my own. And the long and short of what I've done in the neck pocket to level it, because we were having two problems. It was slightly higher on the high E side than it was on the low E side, and it needed to be lined up, which was easy to do. So it's actually now perfectly straight. If you run a straight edge down the center of the fretboard, and I'll try to show that to you later. I think I did show it, and I think I filmed this. But anyway, if I run a straight edge down the center of the fretboard, it lines up directly with the center of the bridge. So that's perfect. So the neck is totally straight, and now it's level in the pocket. So I was able to do a quick setup on it yesterday, and I wanted to see where it was, because this neck has been off for quite a long time. And I just wanted to make sure it was still straight. But yeah, no, it took a setup great. It's a little out of tune this morning. I didn't actually stretch the strings or anything. I just threw these on and did a quick setup. But actually, it's not too bad. So I don't know if that's going to come out on camera, but it's playing. Yeah, I kind of wish there were electronics in it right now so I could plug it in. But it needs to be buffed out some more, so I need to pull the strings off. I don't know if I'm going to pull the bridge out or any of that. I think I'll just leave that in there and buff around it. It's really not a big deal. Like I said in a previous video, we've decided to leave this a little bit rough on purpose, just so that it better matches and suits the headstock. But yeah, I'm pleased with the way it is right now. Even if I don't buff it, it's okay. It just looks like an old guitar. It looks like the original paint on an old guitar. It's got a few little niggles and wiggles. So it's really just, if we want this to look really good now, our option is to take it a couple steps further with the polishing and use some of that scratch remover. But right now it's got like the swirls and everything like that. So you have to be looking at it really closely to see all those swirl marks. But essentially it looks okay. I mean, it just looks like an old guitar now, and I'm pretty excited to get the pick guard on it and excited to give this back to the owner, because frankly I was a little worried when I got the neck back on it and aligned. I thought I was going to have a lot more trouble actually setting it up, but it really took a setup like super well. It took me seriously 20 minutes to set this up. It's intonated, the action is perfect, there's perfect amount of relief in the neck, it's 12 thousandths, the nut action is great, like it just took a setup so well. And what I've done here, anyway, so what we've done is we've put 5 springs in there, and I've essentially just pegged the claw. So I screwed the claw all the way in so that there's as much tension as I can get on it, and if we have to, I'll put a block in here, but I don't think I'm going to need to. So I think for now I'm just going to leave it like that with the 5 springs, and hopefully that's enough. So we're going to set this up hardtail because he's not going to use the trim. And now that I look at the neck, I'm pretty certain he's refinished the back of the neck as well, because they're not the same colors. If we look, the front of the headstock is a really nice ambery type, and as soon as you get over to the edge, you can see there that they've stripped it and they've put a really light finish on it on the whole back of the neck. So we can see here that this guitar has been really mistreated, and even though I haven't done the most professional quality job refinishing it, I think it's a bit of a happy accident. I think I said this in the last video, but it's a bit of a happy accident that it came out the way that it did. I honestly, I said that, you know, I would have liked this to be a perfect, gleaming, brand new finish. But it just didn't work out that way. And I'm not apologizing for it. You know, shit happens. I tried my best, and this is how it came out. And hopefully the next one will come out even better. But like I said, I think this is a bit of a happy accident, because it does really now suit, now that I'm getting the guitar together, like, and I've had the pickguard on it, and now that it's been set up and it's playing and I've been actually holding it, and like, you know, because it's been sitting here for a couple months now, just all torn apart, and I haven't really held it as a guitar. So yeah, it's really nice, and I'm really sad that it's not mine because it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing apart. I'll probably film some of that, but I will upload this as just a quick update video, and I'll see if I can tag in some of that other video that I've had laying about where I got to, how I got to where I'm at right now. So yeah, lots of talking, lots of bullshit. That's your only complaint. If you're going to come on my channel and that is your only complaint is that I look sick or that I sniffled a bit, I can't complain about that. I cannot complain about the fact that you're only complaining about the fact that I look sick. So that must mean, that you think everything else I do is ace. That you think I'm an ace guitar player and an ace guitar tech, and everything else I do is awesome. So for those of you haters complaining about the fact that I look sick, if that's your only complaint, fucking A. Yeah, buddy.